Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Look up at the night sky. What do you see? An infinite tapestry of stars, galaxies, nebulae, a vast cosmic ocean stretching beyond the limits of our imagination. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, of unfathomable distances, and of terrifying emptiness. For centuries, humanity has gazed at this cosmic canvas and asked the most fundamental questions. Where did it all come from? How did we get here? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, is it all just a random accident, an unbelievably lucky roll of the dice in a universe that doesn't care, or is there something more? Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most profound mysteries in all of cosmology, a mystery so unsettling in its implications that it forces us to confront the very nature of existence itself, and perhaps even consider if this magnificent, sprawling universe might just have an owner. For decades, scientists have meticulously studied the fundamental laws and constants that govern our universe. These aren't just abstract numbers. They are the bedrock upon which all of reality is built. Think of them as the cosmic recipe, the precise settings on a dial that determine everything from how stars burn to how atoms form, and ultimately, whether life, as we know it, can exist. And what we've discovered is nothing short of astonishing. Our universe, it turns out, is a place of almost impossibly delicate balance, a Goldilocks universe where everything is just right. Let's talk about some of these cosmic dials. There's the strength of the gravitational force, which pulls everything together. There's the strong nuclear force, which binds protons and neutrons together in the heart of atoms. There's the weak nuclear force, involved in radioactive decay, and the electromagnetic force, which governs how electrons orbit atomic nuclei and how light interacts with matter. Beyond these, there are constants like the mass of an electron, the mass of a proton, and the incredibly tiny, yet crucially important, density of dark energy that pervades space. Each of these values is incredibly specific, and if any one of them were even slightly different, the universe we inhabit, and indeed, any universe capable of supporting complex structures or life, simply wouldn't exist. Consider the strong nuclear force. This force is responsible for holding atomic nuclei together. If it were even a tiny bit weaker, say, just 1% weaker, protons and neutrons wouldn't be able to bind. That means no stable atomic nuclei beyond hydrogen. No helium, no carbon, no oxygen, no iron. Without these heavier elements, there would be no planets, no water, no complex chemistry, no building blocks for life. On the flip side, if the strong nuclear force were just 1% stronger, hydrogen would fuse into helium so rapidly and efficiently that virtually all the hydrogen in the early universe would have been consumed. Stars would have burned out in a fraction of the time, and the universe would be dominated by heavier elements, rendering long-lived stars like our sun impossible, and again, no chance for life to emerge. Now let's look at the electromagnetic force. This force governs the interactions between charged particles, determining the size of atoms and the strength of chemical bonds. If it were slightly stronger, electrons would be held so tightly to atomic nuclei that chemical reactions, the very basis of life, would be impossible. Atoms would be too small to form complex molecules. If it were slightly weaker, electrons wouldn't be held strongly enough, leading to unstable atoms and a universe unable to support any kind of stable structure. And then there's gravity, the force that sculpted galaxies and birthed stars. If gravity were a tiny bit stronger, stars would burn through their fuel too quickly, collapsing under their own immense weight before life could even begin to form on orbiting planets. The universe might have collapsed back in on itself shortly after the Big Bang. If it were a tiny bit weaker, matter would never coalesce enough to form stars or galaxies. The universe would be a diffuse, featureless void, endlessly expanding, without any pockets of light or warmth. Perhaps one of the most mind-boggling examples of this cosmic precision relates to dark energy. Dark energy is a mysterious force that is causing the expansion of the universe to accelerate. Its density is incredibly small, almost infinitesimally close to zero, yet it's precisely the right amount. If the dark energy density were slightly larger, the universe would have expanded so rapidly that matter would never have been able to clump together to form galaxies, stars, or planets. Everything would have been torn apart before it could even begin to coalesce. If it were slightly smaller, gravity would have dominated, and the universe would have collapsed back in on itself billions of years ago. The probability of dark energy having this exact value, which allows for the existence of complex structures, is so astronomically small that it defies intuitive comprehension. It's like winning the lottery not just once, but every single day for 1,000,000 years straight. The list of such cosmic coincidences goes on and on. The precise mass difference between protons and neutrons, which allows neutrons to decay into protons, is crucial for the early universe to form hydrogen and helium, and later for stars to synthesize heavier elements. If the neutron were just slightly lighter, it couldn't decay, and the universe would be a very different, sterile place. Even the initial irregularities in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, were just right. Too smooth and no galaxies would have formed. too lumpy, and the universe would have collapsed into a chaotic mess of black holes. So, faced with this overwhelming evidence of fine-tuning, what are we to make of it? How do we explain a universe that seems so exquisitely tailored for our existence? This is where the mystery deepens, and where the question of an owner begins to emerge, not as a religious declaration, but as a profound scientific and philosophical inquiry. One popular scientific explanation is the multiverse theory. This theory posits that our universe is just one of an infinite number of universes, each with its own set of physical laws and fundamental constants. In this scenario, it's not surprising that one of these countless universes would happen to have the right conditions for life. If you have an infinite number of lottery tickets, you're bound to win eventually. Our universe just happens to be the lucky one where the cosmic dials are set perfectly. The multiverse theory effectively shifts the problem of fine-tuning from our universe to a broader, unseen ensemble of universes. It's a compelling idea, offering a way for chance to explain the improbable, but it comes with its own set of challenges. We currently have no direct empirical evidence for other universes. They exist purely as a mathematical construct and a theoretical solution to the fine-tuning problem. It's a hypothesis that remains, for now, beyond the reach of scientific verification. Another perspective is the anthropic principle. In its weak form, it simply states that the universe must be compatible with the existence of intelligent life, because intelligent life is observing it. Essentially, we wouldn't be here to observe the universe if its parameters weren't suitable for us. It's a tautology, a statement that is true by definition. While true, it doesn't explain why the universe is fine-tuned. It just states that we necessarily find ourselves in a universe that allows our existence. The strong anthropic principle goes further, suggesting that the universe must have properties that allow life to develop at some stage in its history. This version borders on teleology, the idea that the universe has an inherent purpose or goal. But if we set aside the multiverse for a moment, and if the anthropic principle simply describes what we observe rather than why it is so, then we are left with the staggering improbability of our universe. The chance of all these constants aligning perfectly by random chance is so infinitesimally small that it beggars belief. It's often compared to finding a single specific grain of sand on all the beaches of all the planets in all the galaxies in the observable universe. Not just any grain, but that specific grain. This leads us to the heart of our mystery. Does this extreme fine-tuning point to something more? Does it hint at a deliberate design, an intentional arrangement? For many, the answer is a resounding yes. When we see intricate, complex systems that are perfectly calibrated for a specific function, our intuition, and often our scientific training, leads us to infer a designer, an architect, a programmer. When we find a watch, we infer a watchmaker. When we discover complex software, we infer a programmer. Why then, when confronted with the intricate, incredibly precise, cosmic code of our universe, should we shy away from inferring a cosmic architect, a cosmic programmer, an ultimate owner, who set these dials to precisely the right values? This isn't necessarily about a bearded figure in the clouds, but about a profound intelligence, a fundamental consciousness, or a guiding principle that underlies all of reality. The idea isn't that this owner is in the universe, but rather that the owner is responsible for the universe, for its very existence and its operating instructions. It suggests a universe with purpose, rather than just a cosmic accident. Consider the implications. If our universe has an owner, then its existence is not arbitrary. It suggests a reason, a logic, a grander narrative woven into the fabric of spacetime itself. It would mean that the journey of stars, the formation of galaxies, the emergence of life, and indeed our own conscious awareness, are not just random byproducts of a meaningless process, but potentially part of a master plan, an unfolding story directed by an ultimate intelligence. This concept profoundly shifts our perspective, moving us from a universe of indifferent physics to one imbued with potential meaning. What would this ownership entail? It could mean that the initial conditions were precisely calibrated. It could mean that the fundamental laws themselves are intelligently chosen. It could even mean an ongoing influence, though that delves further into speculation. The fine-tuning itself, however, is a scientific observation. The inference of an owner is a philosophical leap, albeit one that many find compelling given the astronomical odds against chance. This idea challenges our conventional scientific understanding, which often seeks explanations purely within the physical realm. When the physical constants themselves seem to point beyond chance, it opens up a doorway to exploring what lies outside or beyond the current framework of our understanding. It forces us to ask if the universe is more like a vast, complex computer simulation, meticulously coded and launched by an ultimate programmer, or a magnificent cosmic symphony composed and conducted by an unseen maestro. The beauty of this mystery is that it doesn't necessarily contradict science, it pushes the boundaries of it. Science tells us how the universe works, describing the mechanisms and the constants, but it largely remains silent on the why. Why these specific constants? Why this particular set of laws? This is where the scientific observations intersect with the deepest philosophical and existential questions. So, as we explore the vastness of space, as we probe the origins of matter and energy, as we discover new planets and attempt to understand dark matter and dark energy, we are continually confronted with this profound enigma. The universe is not just big, it's meticulously constructed. It's not just old, its timeline is perfectly synchronized for the emergence of complexity. The chances of this happening by pure, unadulterated randomness are so small as to be practically zero. This leads many to the compelling conclusion that the universe, in all its grandeur and precision, points to an intelligence beyond our comprehension, an ultimate architect, a cosmic proprietor who laid the foundations and set the cosmic dials. It's a universe that whispers, not of chaos, but of order, not of accident, but of intent. And as we gaze into the unfathomable depths of the cosmos, we are left to ponder the ultimate enigma. Is this universe an accident of infinite probabilities, or a magnificent testament to a purpose we are only just beginning to grasp? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my YouTube channel for more interesting videos.